Hi, I'm Evan.
And I'm Mark.
What do we do today, Mark?
On this week's episode, we talk about, how would you explain it? How would you even explain it, Evan?
It's a Twilight Zone episode.
I don't know what that means, but stay tuned for the Twilight episode.
Okay. Something to Poop Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, here we are. Episode number 45. We're ready to go.
45, so much more than that. Do I look better to you? I'm trying my new camera rig. It's the same camera that you have.
Really? No. It's nice that I can't see the ceiling. That's great. Yep. I like that.
Yeah.
You're very I feel like I have a red light filter on my screen or something.
Oh, I just look so orange?
Yeah, like everything is orange.
Well, there's some yellow back here, but I shouldn't look orange. I look neutral to me.
No, that is not neutral. You look like you're part of the background. Like I can't tell. I just see Mark's black shirt.
Okay, that's a bit of a thing. What color is this paper? Is it paper
color?
Yellow
yellow.
That's your computer screen then.
No, my computer screen. Well, we'll see on the replay then.
That's your computer screen. I'm looking at the camera. It's white. I'm looking here. It's white.
That's not white. We'll see. We'll see on the replay. Somebody's going to be right and somebody's going to be white.
Sure.
Okay.
How you doing?
I'm doing great, dude. I'm doing great. Thursday.
Thursday's your public facing day.
Oh my God. It's been so amazing.
I don't know how you coined the term public facing day, but yeah.
I don't know. Probably just came to me like many other things that just come to me and then we run with. Yeah, it was nice. Great. I did 2 Instagram live. No, I did 3 Instagram lives before.
You got someone to rap. I saw that.
So that's the thing. So I did 3 Instagram lives, before 1 o'clock today, right? With different people. Mm-hmm. And normally at 2, I go live. And my goal is 1 Instagram live a day. So I don't always go live with my audience on Thursday because I've done it so many times already. And Nina asked me, "You gonna go live today?" Like, yeah, I'm gonna go live. This is too much fun. I'm having too much fun today. And then we had people join in we had 3 or 4 people join in. The last guy, Fonda, came in and I made him do a freestyle rap, which was great. It was a good decision. I'm very happy I did it.
I recognize that gent from the video that we did of one-on-ones you've done. Okay. So I recognized him and you got him to rap, which was fun.
Yeah.
So here's the question I have for you today.
Ooh, okay. Wow. Just straight to it. All right, let's go.
Well, listen, let's go. Here's the question I have for you today. And I want you to play along because I know that you're going to try and shortcut the answer, but I want you to think about this.
Wow. Like I don't think about things?
No, you like to just get straight to the point and you go, what else? That's it. That's the answer. What else? So,
okay, but that doesn't mean that I haven't thought about it.
Great.
Drager.
So I know you're going to hate this question, but anyway, so the question is, if you had to start again right now with nothing, what would you do differently? We're not rewinding. We're not removing all your memory. We're not doing any of that stuff. Just if you had to do anything, relationships, friendships, schooling, business, pick any area of your life. If you had to do any of it, starting again, starting with nothing, what would you do?
Why is this our question? Why do we care?
I've actually been thinking about this question a lot for the last few weeks because I think it best articulates the transformation I've had during the isolation, during the last 2 months. I did a video actually on this for IG. And
you did? Man, you haven't made a video for a long time.
Yeah, it's not out. It's not out yet, but on my new schedule, I recorded it and it'll go out.
Wait, today is your day for making content, right?
Yesterday.
Oh, yesterday
was my day, but it got.
Oh my goodness! Look at that! Look at that, Mark Drager he looks like he's 13 in this picture or something.
Oh, that's the picture of me and Jacqueline. That's just after our first anniversary. That's May of 2001. We started dating in May of 2000.
How old are you?
Years ago. When we started dating, or in that picture?
In this picture.
I'm 18 there.
18? You look 13.
Jack is 17. I'm 18. I've got frosted blonde hair because it was...
It's not frosted. It's just all blonde.
Just blonde. Yeah. I bleached it. It's very Sum 41 pop punk of 2000.
I really thought, I don't know why, the JN coaching tech, I really thought that was Ed Milet.
No, I think Joe.
I think in his Joe, I think his profile picture is kind of the same kind of distance away from the camera as Ed Milet. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Ed Milet's commenting on Mark Jager's 18-year-old.
That would be great. But
Okay,
yeah,
anyway.
someone sent me that. But anyway, the reason I did the post on it, but the reason I like this question right now is because for me, if I think about, okay, it's hard for me to go, what parts of my business am I happy with? What parts am I unhappy with? What parts of my life? What parts of my schedule, my calendar? We've been working through all of this stuff because, we're starting to talk about coming back to quote unquote normal, right? That things will be opening up again and people will be going back. And there's lots of parts of this last 2 months that I really love and I cherish. And I feel blessed for having had a chance to experience. So I want to kind of hold on to some of that stuff and bring it forward. But the best question that really represents what I've worked through in, business, fatherhood, relationships with Jacqueline, focus, time, everything is it's kind of like starting again. And I don't think people want to start again. I think they're afraid to start again. I think they're afraid to lose everything. They're afraid to burn it to the ground. So ask yourself, what would you do if you had to start again with nothing? What would you do differently? And then just proactively use this time to cancel out all the stuff that you don't like to do, don't want to do, that's holding you back. Now, like, you don't have to wait to lose everything to ask yourself that question and then apply it to your life, business, and what have you. So I've been thinking about this a lot. I want other people to think about it a lot, but I'm actually just curious as well what you would do, because I'm sure there's stuff I could learn from that.
In 2020 right now, not I'm going back to whatever year.
No. This is right now. So,
yeah.
So great. Evan and Nina are no longer together. What would you do differently? Now, I'm not saying that you aren't together. I'm not saying that's a great area of your life
Nina!
that you want to pick on or whatnot, but what would you do differently? And then, hey, why wait for your relationship to fall apart when you can just proactively do these things, right? I think you already do a lot of this stuff subconsciously, but I'd be curious, right? Like Evan, the writer, the speaker, the YouTuber, the podcaster, you're not losing any of those skills, but you lose everything. You lose your platform, you lose your team, you lose your budget, you lose all of that stuff. What would you do? What would you do, and how would it be different? And then I want to take these ideas because I want to use them myself.
It's not even a subconscious thing. It's almost my baseline operating system.
You're already doing all this stuff without even thinking about it.
I'm always thinking about it. I'm like thinking about it so often that I'm always not even thinking about it and just doing it. No, I'm serious. Like,
no, I believe you. I
used to get. Who asked me this? It was like I got upset at somebody who was talking about charity. Like, hey, if I won $1 million, what would you do with it? Or I won $100 million, whatever. Oh, I'd start to do this. Great. Like, whatever your answer to that question is, you need to be doing right now.
In some small amount.
Yeah, you need to start making progress towards it right now. Like, it bothers me that people, if they say that they got all this money, would be doing something totally different than what they're doing right now.
This is why when we went to Tony Robbins and all I talked about was my retirement, it bothered you so much.
Oh yeah, retirement, dude. What are we doing? That's ridiculous.
Me wanting to buy my 500 acres in Georgia and hide from the world really bothered you.
But you don't want to hide from the world. You don't want to hide from the world.
And now look at me. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd be doing, like, if any time the answer is I'd be doing something different, then you have to change your schedule and change your life and change what you're doing, right? I mean, relationships might be a little tricky one. I mean, I have Nina, so I'm not even thinking about that. Otherwise, I have to go find, do I find a Nina? Am I finding somebody else? Nina never was born. Like, that's a whole different set of questions, I guess. But it's not practical to, like, what am I doing? How do I run my life right now? Like Nina.
I guess the reason on the relationship side, so there's a few things here. First, Tony Robbins mentioned it really small in passing.
Ooh,
it stuck with me. It
what
was like, if you treated things at the end the way you did at the beginning, they wouldn't come to an end. Right? So with relationships, lovey-dovey, super forgiving, super graceful, playful, flirtatious, the relationship's falling apart. It's not like that. And so if you treated things at the end the way you did at the beginning, your new job, super exciting, you're hustling, you're giving it all your time, you're giving it all your focus, you're not bitter, you're not cold, your team members, everything. If you just treated things at the end the way you did at the beginning, they wouldn't come to an end. that kind of always stuck with me. And so asking this question to me forces me to say, I don't have to wait till things fall apart. I don't have to wait for things to get really bad. I can proactively do things. You're already doing that. I don't remember what the second point was, but it was going to be amazing as well.
Awesome. Great. So I'd be doing a smaller version of what I'm doing right now. So if I had no editor, I'd be editing myself, or I'd call on my friend Mark Drager to help me edit some videos. I would. You would go to platforms. You do the same thing. I know that you don't feel like your big machine is holding you back or fencing you in because you love the stuff that you're doing. But how much runway do I have?
Nothing. Tomorrow.
I have no money in my bank account? Zero?
You got to start. Yeah. You're starting again with nothing. What would you do?
Then I'm getting the job. I'm going to go work for Mark Drager. He's going to pay me a lot of money. Mark can't afford me. I'm going to go. If I had zero money and I would go get a job in something that I would hit up.
But when you left your job, you had zero money. When I left my job, when I quit in 2006, my job where I was earning $45,000 a year, where I was married, we had my daughter, we were in an apartment, 2 cars. I mean, for some areas that might sound like a lot of money. I don't know. In Toronto, that was not a lot of money in 2006. I quit that to earn 17 grand the next year. So like, it's not that I didn't have help or privilege or any of that stuff, but when you started, you didn't have any money, Evan. Think back to college, think back to university before you sold your company. You were earning $300 a month.
I would get a job that would let me get to where I want to be. Like if I had nothing, I had no savings, I had no money, everything was gone, just me and Nina with zero in our bank account, I would, knowing what I'm capable of doing, try to find my fastest way back to getting what I had and then beyond. So I would hit up everybody who has a YouTube channel, who's in my circle, everybody who I went to Puerto Rico with, and say, hey guys, I have no money. Let me come. I'm going to help you blow up your channel. I'll move to wherever you're at. And
would you do that? Would you knock people? Would you knock on people's doors and just say, hey man, things are really tough right now. I've lost all of this stuff. I know that I can drive value for you. Yeah. There wouldn't be any ego. There wouldn't be any shame. There wouldn't be any worry, fear of judgment.
Well, one of my options, I have no money. I need to make money.
I don't know. You go live with your parents.
But then do what?
I don't know. This is your game of starting.
It just gets me there faster. I mean, sure. So I'm assuming I had nothing. If I can go move in with Mark Drager, then
maybe I'll out to Oshawa with your 2 dogs. My dog can eat your dog, and that'd be great. You can move into Jonah's new bedroom.
Yeah, I probably look at a transition of 6 to 12 months working with somebody who I can also learn something from, be closer to their son, and crush their YouTube channel, make money in the process, build up my own thing. Right now?
Huh? Who would that be?
I would hit up Brendan. I would hit up Dean. I would hit up Ed. I would hit up Gary. I would hit up Tom. I'd hit up everybody who I've helped over the years. The thing is, they may not have a fit right now. They may not have a need. They may not have the budget. It may not be important enough. It may be a combination of 4 of them.
And then, okay, so you get some money back. You get some learning. You're close to the sun. What do you do next?
I go back to building my channel. I'm helping them build theirs, and I'm building mine. And then build everything back up. Yeah, that's what I would do. Like
you would just do the same thing that you're doing now. Would you do YouTube?
But it should be. Like if you wouldn't do the same thing you're doing now, what you're doing now is wrong. It was never important enough for me to get better at, like, as much as I say I love Les Brown, he's my favorite speaker of all time. It's never important enough for me to chase down Les Brown and go live with him for 6 months to become a better speaker. Because everything else that I'm doing is just too important to me. That other stuff it's not important enough for me. Now, if everything else was gone, do I take that as an opportunity, as a stepping stone to get to somewhere else? Maybe. But
do you think you would learn anything through this? obviously if you're working with Brendan every day, you would have that and, you would learn that stuff. But do you think the very act of losing everything and starting again and the grind, the hustle, the fun of the build, do you think you would learn anything about yourself or think about your business, think about things in a whole new way?
I would attribute it to the same as like breaking my neck. Like it's just another I'm awesome, let's go kind of moment. More than anything else. More than because I'm always living that. Like what I'm doing is what I would be doing, just a bigger version. And right now I'm doing a small version compared to what I'll be doing in 5 years. Like maybe I hit up Russell and say, hey, Russell, let me run your YouTube channel. Teach me about ClickFunnels, right? Like, let me work with
Facebook ads.
You and your team. Facebook ads. Like that's what I would do. And maybe they have a fit and maybe they don't. And it would be
down in Boise, Idaho.
Yeah. And maybe like inside of a year, I'm doing my own thing again. But I think that's actually a faster path to me getting to where I want to be than if I move back home with my parents and I'm doing everything from zero.
I've heard Tom say that he's afraid to lose all the money. He's afraid of lots of things in terms of his relationship and how things would change. But at the same time, he has a tremendous amount of confidence in his own ability to work hard, to make things happen. Like he just has so much confidence in his ability to attack whatever's in front of him that he doesn't really worry about little things. Do you find yourself in that same situation?
I'm not worried. I'm not fearful at all about losing everything. Like it never
cross your mind.
It's not like maybe the only time I would is if we're doing research on somebody, like if Tom said that. I've never heard Tom actually say that, but I trust you. If Tom says that on some interview, like, wow, that's interesting. Like I haven't thought about it this week at all until you just said it right now.
Well, and so I don't want, so it's weird. I mean, you understand the reason I'm asking, right? I don't want people to get scared or defensive or any of those things. I think it's a question for those of us who aren't living the way that you're living, for those of us who are still, not perfectly happy in our relationships or our career or our business or our team or what we're doing. When those things aren't aligned, I think it's a really good question to ask because again, at any point you can pull the ripcord on something, you can make a change. It helps pull you into a point of just imagining how things could be, which is really, really freeing, takes the pressure off the day-to-day and everything else. And then you can start taking the steps you need to take.
It's always out of alignment.
In the right direction.
It's always out of alignment. Always. Yeah.
What's out of alignment?
Everything. What you just said, when something's out of alignment, it allows you to make it. It's always out of alignment. What you want, how you want to be living, not just aspirational. The habits, things that are within your control right now is constantly out of alignment. You fix one thing and then something else is broken and then something else is broken. And then the thing that you fixed is broken because you want to do something else because you don't want to just do the same thing all the time over and over and over again. So it's constantly out of alignment. The key is catching the micro misalignments and fixing them before your car breaks down and goes off the side of a cliff.
I didn't realize this was a car metaphor. Okay, great.
Well, I thought alignment, don't you align the wheels or something? Like that's what you need to do. You need to rotate the tires. You need to align the wheels. You got to do all that stuff. You got to make sure things are, but it's a constant game. People think like you go to Tony Robbins. I love Tony, right? You go to Tony Robbins and you figure out your wheel of life and then you go home and you fix it. And then 3 months later, it's still broken. Like the next day it's still broken because what you want to create, you just did this last week. You created your schedule. Great. And you figured it all out. Awesome. It's not going to work 100%.
I already know that. 4 days in, I was like, it's working. I'd say it's about 60% there. But the fact that I'm doing it makes me really proud.
I'm in the life business. The Evan Carmichael's life business is catching the micro misalignments and immediately fixing them so that my life doesn't get to a macro misalignment position. Which is really what you're asking. Like if you had to start over, that's a macro misalignment.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's like, okay, so Jacqueline and I, I think the last 2 months have been the greatest time for us. It's been really hard on her. There have been times where it's hard on me, of course, with the kids and everything else. I think this is the greatest thing that could have happened in our marriage because we were in such a busy season. You know, I've spent 14 years building the business. She spent the last year focusing on herself. You know, Nina in January, February, and March was trying to book a time for us to get together. And I was like, Jacqueline's out every single night. I don't know, you know, so like good for her. But this time for our marriage has really kind of forced us, especially from where we were in September when I was actually really worried about us. You know, I remember telling you that like I could see like red flags waving and I was trying to get in front of it. And so when I asked the question, like, you know, if I had to do it all again, what would I do differently? You know, now I'm going like, great, in the future, I need to make sure that we have more random moments during the day together because she likes quality time, even though I don't really care about quality time that much. But, you know, just those little times to connect for 10 or 15 minutes, random times during the day at doing random things means a lot, you know, means more than me doing the dishes or other things like that, which are typically my acts of service things. So, yeah, I like the idea because parts of my life are still broken of asking this question, imagining how it could be, and then taking the steps to make those things happen.
Yeah, I like it. It's now asking the question so much that you just are the question and you just do it. That it's not even a thing to ask the question.
Mark.
Yeah.
Become the question.
Oh, snap. Become the question mark. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even think that. That's great. I like that.
Become the question mark. Become the question. Yeah. That's it. I look at, Nina and I just went for a walk, right? We've recently scheduled in 2:30 to 3 we go for a walk. Take the dogs out,
Nice.
go for a walk. I'm trying to separate my day to have morning be data kind of tasks and the afternoon be more creative kind of work. On a Thursday like today it doesn't work because it's all interviews and hangouts, but on my other days we do that. And this becomes, I do Instagram live and then we go for a walk. She's a little lower energy than usual. So on the walk, we had a talk and basically found out that we're not as active because we're not going out and doing stuff. Right. So said, okay, great. I have a spot at 5 o'clock. Let's do some Zumba.
Nice.
So at 5 o'clock in an hour and a half, we're going to put on a Zumba and do some Zumba together.
That's a type of dance or that's a type of exercise? I don't even know.
It's both. It's mostly an exercise.
Zumba is the exercise for Kazumba, which is the dance, or no?
No.
Okay.
Kazumba is a dance. Zumba, whatever. It's good that you even know that. Zumba is think of line dancing, but upbeat to Latin music. Upbeat Latin line dancing. That's what it is. It's fun. It's active, but you know, do I change my entire life and do 5 o'clock Zumba every day because that's what I'm going to do with my wife? Is it a one-off thing that we're just going to do for today? Does she not even care about it next week? Like that's the micro paying attention and immediate action to try to fix it. And then maybe that becomes the whole thing or never again. I don't know. It's constantly living your life. You notice a tiny little micro issue, right? Micro misalignment, and then you fix it.
Can I ask you a question that you can cut if it's too personal?
All right.
Do you feel like you're better at marriage now than you were 10 years ago in a different marriage with a different person? Regardless of the person, do you just feel like you're better at it now?
I think I'm better at everything. Everything that you can get better at with experience, right? I'm not better at running 100 meters than I was 20 years ago, right? But apart from that, anything that you can master with experience, I am better at because of the experience. Like you apply experience plus awareness to anything almost, and you get better at it. To business, to communication, to relationships, to anything. Experience plus awareness.
Do you think you're actually worse at anything than you were in the past, or only the things that don't matter?
Physical things, right? I can't run as fast as I did when I was 20. Things that I did not apply. If you use that formula, I think it's a great formula. Awareness plus experience. So areas that I haven't put awareness on or didn't haven't focused on with experience. I haven't like piano. I could be way better at piano than I used to be. I'm not, because I haven't focused on it, haven't put the awareness and experience towards it. But I could be better. There's nothing that says, hey, 20 years later, you're going to be a worse piano. I don't know, does your finger like reaction skills or something get worse? Probably not enough between 20 and 40 or whatever timeline we're using.
You're almost
here.
40. Dude.
I don't even think about it though. Like it's not
my
even
friends are turning 40.
I talk about it because people care about it, because my audience cares about it and they have questions about it. But for me, it's like, it doesn't.
Here's the trickiest thing for me, right? Like you talked about, hey, look at that picture where Mark looks like he's 13, right? So when Jacqueline and I started dating, I was 17, she was 16. I'm 37, she's 36. She's turning 37 this year. Her parents were 39 or something like that when we started dating. Actually, they were 38 because they turned 40 a few months after this picture that Evan's showing of the two of us was taken. So what's trippy to me is going, oh my goodness, I'm almost her parents' age when we started dating. That is like bananas to me. Because they were old. They were old people. We were young. Now, Evan, we're old.
I spend zero time thinking about this.
I know, because you're future focused.
No, present, mostly present. Was it in Dave Hollis's book? Shoot, what book was it in? Might be Dave Hollis.
I want to read that book.
The Dave Hollis one is so like Mark Drager. You need to read. I'll send it to you.
Listen, man, I told you that I listened to his podcast episode, and I was like, this dude is me. Like, oh my goodness, this guy is on. We are the same.
But did you follow him on Instagram?
I've started.
Yeah, are you watching his stories? Are you paying attention to his stuff? He's running Instagram live, running like it's great. He's great. He's great for you. I'm pretty sure
every time he gets stressed out.
He used to be alcoholic, not necessarily like clinical. I don't know how you define alcoholic, but he drank more than he should have. And anytime he had problems, he would go to alcohol.
And now he goes to running. Now he runs instead. He runs
and
1,000 miles a year.
And communicates and talks and shares, right? Instead of just bottling it up.
Yeah.
But I skimmed it, but it's really what this is all about. Where he's talking about, if you're living, so many people are just focused on the regrets of the past and everything that you've kind of come through and how, you're getting older and you just reminisce, or they're worried about the future and this might happen and that might happen, as opposed to just like living where you're at. I don't even recognize the Evan from like 20 years ago or whatever. I don't know. It feels like a lifetime. If I look at a picture of me when I don't remember even this guy on the wall. I don't even know who that is. I don't remember that picture being taken.
You were a tiny little guy. The best is the clip of you from, was it Max the Intern or something, where you're in the suit and is it CBC or something's interviewing you?
Yeah.
And you're like, and you have everybody in a bunch of suits with red ties. And it's just like, hey,
that's what year is that?
Be an entrepreneur. I don't know what that was. 05.
That was before my YouTube channel, right? That was before my YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah. That was before I even knew you.
Right. Okay. So that might be my first. That might be my first like on camera thing. I just looked at the picture again. I thought it was Ed Milet again. Jay and Coach and Tech looks like Ed Milet. It feels like I've lived 8 lifetimes since then. I don't even, it's just like when I say tomorrow is 2020, or now it's 2020.
2030.
Tomorrow is
2030.
Like next week is 2030. Looking back, it's the same thing. Like that's the 1800s. I've lived 18 lifetimes since that moment. Like Mastermind, when we had our Mastermind groups, that was only actually like 2 years ago.
We finished in December, a year and 5 months, a year and a half.
It feels like it's 20 years ago. It feels so long ago. It feels so long. I don't even remember. I barely remember like showing up. Yeah. I had an interview today. I had Preston Smiles on my channel, who's an awesome entrepreneur.
Don't know who that is.
And I had him on I interviewed him. I remember interviewing him a while ago, and I look at my channel and it's only 3 years ago. Like 3 years ago? It's like 2.5 years ago. Christ. I feel like it was a decade ago. It feels like it was so long ago. And I don't know if that's just because you make the most of every moment that time slows down and then it feels, or it's just that I'm not doing it enough and not paying attention to the past. I don't know, but
I don't know. You don't live in the past.
Don't live in the
Right.
past. Don't
That
think
makes
about the
sense.
past.
You don't live in the
and I don't-
past. You don't live in the future. You live in the present.
And I don't think of what happens if I lose everything and I'm screwed.
I am like 100. I can't help but be. I try, man, but I can't help but be super future focused all the time. All the time. I remember in high school just wishing that I could work. When I was working, I wished I could go back to school. And then I was at school and I wished it was March break. And then March break is like, oh, I can't wait to get back to school. You know, it's helped me, you know, when I sat down and looked at which of my value sets have helped me, which have hurt me. Being future focused certainly does help to a degree, because when times are hard, I can still get through the hard times, knowing that in the future it'll be better. I can make sacrifices today on pain or money or investments or whatnot because I'm doing it for the future. So like some people I think who are really present focused struggle to think about building the future you're trying to build. My issue is I never get to that future. like I'm willing to make the sacrifice always today for the future. And then I never seem to take the time to reap the rewards of that. And you're always cycling and you're always thinking about the future and you're always worried about it. And what if this happens? And what if that happens? And all of these things. So that's the downside to being future focused.
A lot of the monks, well, you're also crazy past focused too, which is ridiculous, but
not as much as I think I used to be.
Great. Let's think about the past so you can figure out the difference. The monks and spiritual people would say it's about being present, and even the kind of business spiritual people say it's about being present. I'm 85-15, right? Like 0 past, 85 present, 15 future. I don't know if that's right for everybody. I'm not making it prescriptive, but it certainly works for me. I like thinking about the future, but I'm mostly thinking about what am I doing right now.
I believe that this is just an innate part of your personality, though. Like you are a certain personality with certain gifts, skills, things you do well, things you don't do well. I think you thinking about like, hey, I'm 85-15 is because of who you are, though. And the fact that I think the way that I think is because of the way that I am. And, you know,
I just think that's super limiting.
The fact that Jacqueline lives in the past a lot is.
Okay, but hold on. What are you even saying?
What do you mean? What am I saying?
What are you even saying right now?
Here comes an Instagram clip. Mark the time code.
What did you say 87 seconds ago? I'm less past focused than I used to be. I'm getting better at it.
Yes, but I would very much struggle not to live in the future. I'm working on my anxiety, and it
makes no sense because it's the same thing. It's all the same thing. If you can stop thinking about the past so much, you can stop thinking about the future so much.
I'm working on it.
Great. Well, that's a better answer then. This is who I am. I'm just big boned and I can't do anything about it.
It's not what I said. Yeah, it's not what I said.
It's the same. It's the exact same.
No,
it's the exact
same. I'm saying
same.
that the reason why you're saying that it's better to be 85-15 is because that's naturally who you are. And you like it.
I don't even know that that's naturally who I am. It's who I am now. I haven't thought about how I used to be because I'm not focused on the past.
Exactly.
But I'm not saying it's naturally who I am, and that's what's best for me. I found the rhythm that works well for me. If you go back and ask this kid on the wall what his I wouldn't know what he would have had an answer.
He wouldn't even understand what we were talking about.
Exactly. So then it wasn't who I always was it?
It's not who you were. It's who you will become.
No, who I am. It's who I am. And 15% who I will become. I had a great Mark Drager moment. Every time I recall something, it just makes me so happy. So I had a girl on my Instagram live before you missed it this morning. Not this morning, just before Fonda came on, the rapper. The first person I brought in, I think her name was Chandri. Anyway, she calls in. She said I don't recognize her. I don't recognize her name. I don't recognize her face. And she said she's from Portland. And she's like, oh, okay, cool, Portland. And she said, but I met you. Like, oh, crap, where'd you meet me? In Boston. Like, oh, did you?
So Portland, Maine? No.
Portland. No, Portland, Oregon. She moved.
Oregon, okay.
Yeah, she moved. She moved to Portland. Actually, I didn't clarify, but I'm assuming that's what she meant. But she's in
Portland.
It doesn't matter.
In Oregon, is it?
Portland is the capital of Oregon.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, doesn't matter. So she comes on. She said that
I used to be good at geography.
She met me. She met me in Boston, and so I only did one thing recently in Boston. And I said, "Oh, must have been at the Thinking Cup Cafe." And she said, "Yeah." So I did a meetup, but then I did a speaking gig. And then as she was talking, I remembered who she was. And I said, I had to interrupt. I said, no, hold on. We didn't meet at the Thinking Cup Cafe. We met at Boston Speaks, the speaking gig I did afterwards. And she said, yeah, that was it. You're right. And I told her, I told you that you were too perfect and you were too smart. And she's like, yes, you did. What a great memory.
What a great memory. There
and then
it is.
you know what? I just remember my friend Mark Drager, Fonda White too, that last guy, the guy who was the rapper. I remembered one that he took this beautiful picture of this giant smile with the book, but also the last IG live I did with him, I was in Puerto Rico in my robe. And I told him, hey, the last time we did this, I was in my robe talking to you.
Yes, but when we did your supercut of things, I noticed that you were in the robe, and I was like, this is so weird that part of your social proof for your master's group that you're doing, Evan's in his robe.
I was so burnt out that day. I mean, I was in Puerto Rico all day long, crazy long days, and I had a promise to go live on Instagram every day. So I still went live for 20 minutes. It was a shorter session in my robe, whatever. I'm in my robe. Let's go. So it always really makes me happy when I recognize the memory that I have for the things that matter. But then
you can shove it in my face, right?
No, it just makes me happy. It's just reinforcement that I'm amazing for myself. But then I'll be mid conversation, like totally forgot what I was saying at the same time, right? It's great. Anyway, Mark Drager moments. Who anytime somebody compliments my memory, it just makes me think of my friend Mark Drager, who says I have a terrible memory. It's just that I'm not living in the past. That's all. Okay, keep going. I had to share that story because I was thinking about you.
That's good.
Thinking about you.
Good. Thank you.
Makes me so happy.
Every time that you say that you're thinking of me,
makes you happy.
It does, because it helps feed my insecurity that we're still not good enough friends.
Okay.
I still, I don't know how all these years into it, and I would say maybe 2 years into a much deeper friendship, I still question why this dude is my friend. I don't know how to fight that, but I'm being quite honest now. Yeah.
That's helping to prove.
I guess so. Just deep-rooted insecurity. You want to know the weirdest thing? When people reach out to me now, they always preface with this like I got this great email from someone who was listening to our podcast, and we've set up a conversation. I don't have permission to share her name, so I won't share her name. But
that's fine.
She said, in her email that she sent to me, it was, I just finished watching your video with Evan called How to Make a Podcast People Care About. And Evan says, idea to action. So here I go. It's like this, like permission to like, Mark, I'm really nervous to reach out to you, which I find really funny, because I feel like I'm not someone that people should feel nervous to reach out to, or super crazy aspirational or any of that stuff. Like I feel like I'm in the same boat as them. Like me reaching out to them, I'd be like, I'm kind of nervous to reach out. Here we go. So I always have to find that a bit funny.
Okay, and then what happened?
And then what? Oh, and then we're getting together. She's gonna interview me for her podcast, which is great.
Oh, nice. There you go.
Good. Yeah, it's all good. It's all great. I'm looking forward to it. But it's from a listener or a viewer named Anthena. So,
hey, what happened to the person I introduced you to say you have to do a podcast with her, the wrestler?
I haven't reached out yet.
Are you serious? Alex did his already.
I haven't reached out yet. Oh, you mean Jay? You mean Jay?
Yeah.
Okay. So sorry, Jay and I have tried. I've tried a bunch of times to connect.
Okay. And didn't work?
No. We have a date set up for the recording.
Okay.
But we were supposed to speak last Friday. They were under the weather. They couldn't connect. This and that.
Okay, whatever. It's happening. What about the badass woman who follows me, who I said you need to connect with?
That's the one that I haven't reached out to yet.
I can intro you.
It's not fear. It's
fear. It's only fear. It's what, Mark? Tell us your logical reason why you haven't. You want to have badass women push you. Here she is, like strength champion, and she calls herself in her bio a badass woman or badass female something.
I know. I like it. I checked her out. I just haven't done my reach outs this week yet because
Mark, that's like a month old. When did I tell you about her?
Last Friday or something.
No.
It's like 8 days old, maybe.
No, more.
Evan,
Mhm.
I will. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you the honest date. Let's see what it
I
is.
know you will. I know. It's more than 8 days for sure. What's her name?
Hold on. Wow, you just sent me a whole bunch of stuff today.
What's her name?
It was May 11th. This guy follows me on IG. Helpful? Question mark. Oh no, she follows May 4th. May 4th. She follows me on IG.
How many days is that, Mark?
May 4th. Today's the 14th. 10 days. I said 8. Sorry, 10 days.
Okay.
That's why when I said I haven't reached out to her yet, I knew that you were going to jump on it.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter if you've done your outreaches this week or not. What happened to last week's outreaches?
I reached out to everyone. I did the
But not her? Did you reach out to her?
3 people I could see seen it. Nobody responded back. Nobody responded back at all. So I'm going to send follow-up messages with like, hey there, just
okay. No, what happened to this woman?
This woman I haven't reached out to yet. I told you that.
I know, but why?
Why?
You said it's logical because I haven't done it this week, but you didn't do it last week either.
I don't know. I just haven't. I haven't thought about it. I will.
Okay, I'm going to message her right now. What's her name?
You got a great memory.
I remember what actually matters. That you haven't done anything in a long time.
Is Evie Fats.
Evie. How do you spell it? Evie. Oh, Evie. Evie Fats.
Yes. Fitness, nutrition expert, seeker of truth, badass, inspirer. I like that.
Hey, Evie, it's Evan. My friend Mark Drager and I run a podcast together, and he's looking for a badass woman to interview. And I said, you are the most badass woman who needs to go on his new podcast show. So what do you think? Will you do it? Let me know. I'm going to intro you.
So I did do a bit. I wouldn't say I spent too much time on it, maybe about 20 minutes. I spent enough time to care, but not so much time that you get mad at me.
But you listen, you get Evie Fats on.
Hold on. Not that. I know,
badass inspirer, writer, speaker, badass inspirer. That's what she calls herself. She's like pumping crazy weights and lifting all this. So, but
I've been trying to figure out what to call this thing, and then
you get her on.
Yeah.
And then you use her name. You can have a great interview. It's going to be great. She's going to love you. Blah, 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 blah.
She spoke at at the thing that you were at.
What thing?
Ed Milet's thing. She has spoken there because there is a picture of her on stage with the upside down V behind her.
Oh, cool. Well, she didn't speak at the one I was at, or maybe she did. I don't know.
Maybe that's how you know her. Maybe she was in the audience.
Yeah. I think she was I connect with her. Yeah. She was at the event. She was in the back seat. She sat in the back row.
Well, there you go. Well, now I've been more intimidated by her. She sounds awesome.
You're going to have a great conversation. You'll be intimidated, whatever. You'll be fine. And then you use that interview to go get other people. Mm-hmm. Who's been on? We had Evie Fats on. Do you know her? She's a badass inspirer.
She speaks at Ed Milet's events in Whistler and all these weird places.
Great.
Do you think the podcast title matters?
No. Whatever. Who cares? Post. What's the podcast title? Mark's other podcast. Great. Start.
The thing is, we gave this one the best title. So.
Doesn't matter. You might switch it with time. Awesome. Don't call it like Mark's Cooking Show, and then it's obviously not about cooking.
Mm-hmm. I know. Right? That's pretty basic, but yeah, okay.
But that's it. Like you're worried about it. Like, is that the reason why you haven't launched it? Because you don't have a name for it?
No, I have a bunch. I have 3 interviews lined up for next week with people.
Great.
So it's good.
You're gonna crush it, dude. This is gonna be so good. You're gonna do so well at this.
I'm excited.
You're gonna do so well.
I'm excited. I really am excited.
Can I tell you something? Can I tell you something nice?
Of course you can. Is it about me?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Go ahead.
So listen. So yesterday, I line up. I use one of my connections. Line up a call with somebody who's running $1 million a month.
Oh, okay. You're talking about this conversation.
What's he doing? $1 million a month.
Do $1 million a month in ad spend.
$1 million a month on Facebook ads. Mark's helping run my Facebook ad campaign for Built to Serve, and we're figuring it out. We're not quite hitting the numbers that we want to hit yet. So I said, Mark, let's just go learn from one of the best. I don't know how many people are running $1 million a month on Facebook ads. He's got to be like in the top percentage for sure for people who are spending, and in an exact kind of industry that we're getting into. Mark's a lot more steeped in the details than I am. I'm just kind of setting it up and have a cursory understanding of what's going on. So Mark ran the show. I also got in late because my thing wasn't working properly. So I get in, Mark's already running the show, and Mark was crushing it. Mark was asking great questions. Mark had the guy saying, well, that's a really good question. He was keeping up. He's like, this is the thing. When I came back from Puerto Rico and Mark wanted to leave, no, Mark wanted to like not work with me anymore. It's like, you deserve somebody better or whatever. I said, no, man, like I want you to have a seat at the table. Like I want to bring you along. You're at the table as well. Right. And you could see the seats, like the conversation yesterday, Mark belongs at the table. Mark belonged. And it's like, yeah, man, I made it. Like, it could have been a total embarrassment. I wasn't expecting it to be embarrassing, but it's like, if it didn't go well, like, oh my God, like I feel bad. Who's this guy I introduced? And here's my friend Mark, like just sucking.
Now, I first of all, the person we spoke with, as I mentioned yesterday in the call, was very gracious, very generous, very understanding. Just seemed like a really caring person. You weren't on the call, but I prefaced the call kind of with my background in history, just so that way he had a starting point to help me bridge from my understanding to what they're doing.
That makes sense. Who's this guy?
I love no, but even just the fact that my background is so much focused on Google and linear ad spends, and Facebook is very different.
It's fine.
Anyway, so he was able to bridge that gap really great. But a few things. One, it was so embarrassingly obvious, the stuff that he pointed out, that I was like, oh my goodness, I love this so much. I love it so much right now because it's just a no-brainer. Like as soon as, what's that FedEx thing, right? When you see the arrow in the logo, you can never unsee it again.
And the teaspoon.
Right? When you buy a new car, you see them everywhere. You can't help but see this new car that you bought everywhere, right? As soon as I saw his list of things that he wanted us to change, I didn't need him to explain them because I was like, oh my goodness, this is so clear. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I get it. I got it. Let's go. It's good. But I also was happy that the types of questions I was asking were at least kind of intelligent, next level questions. We were able to have a good conversation about it.
Listen, you asked some questions that people with more experience in the industry than you wouldn't have asked. You're asking great questions. He felt part of why, like, sure, he's gracious and helpful and he's doing it because I helped him and I helped his boss and all that stuff. Great. But he also felt like you were listening, you cared, you actually were paying attention, you were going to do some work, you're asking insightful questions, that he wasn't just wasting his time. People get that. Somebody's boss sets them up for a call and it's like, okay, I'll help this person out. But it feels like a giant waste of time compared to actually running his $1 million a month ad campaigns, right? I'm sure he left feeling that was kind of fun, right? It's like, it's nice to mentor and give back and help. Like most mentees suck, but Mark didn't, right? Like it's good. Like you can do it. You can sit at the table. You have it in you. It's great. I like it. So that's my compliment Mark Drager story for the week.
Thank you.
Okay.
I left the conversation feeling amazing because everything that was so like, oh, why didn't we think of it? So obvious. I love it. We can act on it right away.
Yeah.
Big changes coming tomorrow for you, Evan.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
And it did make me also go, yeah, I could do that. I can have those conversations. Sometimes, man, I feel like the smartest guy I know. And then other times I go, what the hell's wrong with me?
That's why I think your Mark's other podcast will do well, because you're bringing on people that are challenging you, but I think you'll be able to keep up and you'll be able to ask great questions. Whether you fully understand what they're saying or not, or like as steeped in what they know, is fine. You're going to pull on a thread and ask great questions.
I'm excited. Let's go.
Come on, Evie Fats. Let's go.
Let's just wrap this up in a nice little bow. For people who aren't like you, do you think that the question that I'm asking myself, the changes that I'm making from, if I had to start again, what would I do differently? And then just taking those things and implementing them right now? I
think that's a great recipe for a happy life.
Okay. I think we say for disaster. That's a great recipe to go nowhere quick. I thought that's what you were
No. And it's not about, this is one of those things. Like there are some things that,
some cheats that I like that you don't like.
There are some things that are very individual. Like what does success look like to you? What does balance look like to you? What does a calendar look like to you? That's very personal, right? And then there are some things that I think apply to everybody. Everybody's built to serve. Everybody needs to match their actions to their ambitions. This is really all it is. This is matching your actions to your ambitions. As you shift your ambitions, you shift your actions. I think it's something, I think prefacing it as people be like you is incorrect, because this isn't an Evan thing. This is what should be a human thing. Everybody should do this. Everybody should be paying attention to what do they want in their life and then making the course corrections, not once a decade, massive midlife crisis, major changes, but micro, like every month, every week, maybe even every day, to make that adjustment so that your actions constantly map. It's a human thing that will lead to your happiness more than I'm going to be like Evan and start my morning routine like this. So yeah, I think it's genius. And I think you should ask it a lot more often than I think people listening should ask it a lot more often than they currently are, until you don't even ask it anymore and you just are the question mark.
Bravo. Bravo. Let's leave it there. Thank you all so much for listening.
If you want to see me fix Mark's schedule and therefore his life, check out the video right there next to us. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and we'll see you there.